Zionist community. In fact, in my Jewish community, I did not know a single anti-Zionist Jew growing up. I had an Orthodox bar mitzvah. Learned Hebrew. A lot of Israel, kind of Israel. I was born before before the so-called Jewish state was not even 10 years old. So it was on a lot of minds in that community. So, and also both sides of my family, great aunts, great uncles, cousins, were ghettoized and ethnically cleansed in the Holocaust. So I don't exactly fit the demographic profile of someone speaking here. So what am I doing here? I'll tell you. As a kid, I recall being told that Israel was a land without a people, for a people without a land. Now you understand what that meant. At the time, though, we didn't really have access as children to any other information. It was that single narrative. What we weren't told is that around 800,000 Palestinians were ethnically cleansed, their homes looted. And when they tried to return, even though they had a legal right of return, they were denied that right. I learned that the movement that I grew up with was a racist movement loaded with myths, distortions, and falsehood. Like Amnesty International, like the Human Rights Campaign, like the Israeli human rights organization Bet Salam, I too concluded years ago that Israel is an apartheid state. You know, when I lived in Cambridge, I was in a small group with Dr. Noam Chomsky years ago. And someone said, do you consider Israel an apartheid state? He said, now don't forget, this is a guy who's been considered the world's #1 public intellectual. He said, I don't like that term applied there because what Israel is doing is much worse than what happened in South Africa. At least in South Africa, they felt that they needed the black majority. The Zionists in Israel they just want them out. And of course, you know, and you know, to me, the brutality it's even worse. So here I am. I'll say it. This former Zionist is an anti-Zionist Jew, and there are a lot of us. It's a growing group. Granted, a lot of baby boomers are not among us, but when you look at the young Jews, things are changing quickly. And I'm old enough to remember the fall of South African apartheid. And when it fell, it happened awfully fast. And I think that's what's going to happen here. And I'm going to make sure I'm here to see it as quickly as possible. Free Palestine!
Free Palestine!
Free Palestine!
Free Palestine!